Hey, how's it going? I'm going to teach you how to separate one large audio file into separate tracks in order for you to break them up so you can put them on a CD or put them on an MP3 player, something like that. I'm going to be using Adobe Audition version 3. So there you go. Let's get started. I'm assuming everybody's running Windows 7. If you're running Windows XP, it's going to look a little bit different, or Windows Vista is going to look a little bit different. But once you get into the program, it's going to be pretty much the same. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, we're going to open up Adobe Audition 3. You're going to hit your little Start button down here. And because I already have it open, or had opened it previously, it's going to be in this list. If you don't see it in this list, just go ahead and go to All Programs, and it should be up here. If you still can't find it, I'm going to hit the back button here. If you still can't find it, you can come back in here into the Search Programs, this little space right here, and type in Audition, A-U-D-I-T-I-O-N. And as you can see in Programs, it's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get it started. I'm going to left click on Adobe Audition, and we'll have it open up. And there we are. Okay, so here it is. One thing I want to point out to you, there are 3 buttons up here: Edit, Multitrack, and CD. What you need to be on is the Edit track to start with. Okay. As you can see here, also there are some tabs over here. Right now it's all the way over to the left. I'm going to bring it over to the right with this little gray button. I'm going to slide this back over. Come over here to Files. Click there. Okay. So anyway, like I said, if you're not in Edit mode, or the Edit workspace as it is, make sure you're there. Go ahead and click on that. And then what we're going to do is go to File and Open. Going to locate the file that you want, the big long file that you want to use. Now, as you can see here, I've already done 9, 10, and 11 of this group. As you can see up here, it's Barry stuff, Jean-Luc Ponty. So we have 9, 10, 11. These are actually the long files down here. And these are the ones, this is where they've been broken up into individual tracks. And we'll get to that later. In the meantime, right now I'm going to work on number 13. So I'm going to left click on that and then left click on Open. I'll wait for this to open up. Okay, and here it is. Now I want to point out a couple of things. Number one, we can look at this panel over here. As you can see, there's the file, Jean-Luc Ponty. If you come down here, here are your various sound controls. Here's play, stop, pause. This is play from cursor to end of view. You don't really need that right now. Basically, you're just going to be dealing with play and pausing. So, a couple other things I want to point out. Here you are, the 2 channels. It's in stereo. The one up top is the left channel. One at the bottom is the right channel. This little gray, thick gray bar in the center. I'm going to be using this thick gray bar in order to place my cursor at certain points, or place my bar, and I'm going to show you that bar in a second. In fact, I'll show it to you right now. You've got this yellow triangle up here, followed by this kind of dotted line. This is going to be used in order to kind of forward yourself through the track. Okay, if I click on this thick bar, that kind of moves that, or left click, just to be clear. That kind of moves that forward, and I can go ahead and start playing from that point. Okay, so I'm going to say I've got it right here. I can go ahead and start playing. I'll hit the play button. and it's playing, and there you are. If you need to move your cursor back to the home spot, you could either click all the way back here, or you just press the home button on your keyboard. H-O-M-E, home button. Just press the home button. It'll put that point right back, your starting point right back at the beginning. Okay, so like I said, what we're going to need to do is break this thing up into tracks. So here's the deal. What we need to set cue points or markers into this file so we can split this thing up. Now, what I like to do first of all is to set a cue point at the very beginning. Okay? And in order to set a cue point, you would press the F8 button on your keyboard. So right now I'm going to press the F8 button to put a cue or a marker at the very beginning of the file. And as you can see up here, it's kind of in gray, a little hard to see, but it says marker 01. Okay. In fact, if I go ahead and move this, move the start point up ahead a little bit, you'll see that the marker is a red triangle, kind of a fuchsia pinkish looking triangle. Okay, so that's my first marker. I'm going to set that. So now what we have here is we're going to set up various other markers at our break points. Okay. I'm not going to set them all up right now because that just takes too long. I'm just going to give the idea of how to do it. So you set up various breakpoints throughout the sound file. Now you can see the way the sound file is. You've got some loud points, which are the high marks here. You've got some soft points, which are the little lower parts right here. In fact, if you look right here, in fact, I'm going to hit the home key again to put this marker, or put this yellow line back. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom. I'm going to hit this little zoom button down here, just to kind of get a closer view of this sound file. If you see right here is like a total silent part. This is actually pure silence. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play that. Now another quick shortcut for you is, instead of clicking this play button, if you hit the space button on your keyboard, that'll play and that'll stop. You press it once, it'll play. You press it again, it'll stop. So right now I'm going to play it. Press the key. Pressing the space key. As you can see, it's just a dead space right there. And then it's going to start up again. Okay, I just hit my space key again to stop the playback. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my first marker. Now, like I said, you can see the way this thing goes high and low and high and low. You kind of, what you want to do is kind of set your yellow triangle, this yellow bar or line, to a spot that looks like it's either going to be the end of a song or applause. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to hit space bar again. Now, as you can tell, all this area right here is applause. Now, as you see, I made this white. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing right now, but just to let you know, all I did was hold down my left key, my left mouse button, and just drag this over, and that highlights a spot. And I'm only highlighting it just for illustration's sake. This is nothing that you need to do at this point in time. So, and then if you just left click on this gray bar, it'll go back to where the yellow line is. But I just want to show you this little silent part is where the applause is. Okay? Now, here's obviously where we want to put our next marker. Now, what I usually do, this is kind of a tip. What I usually do is I place my marker at the end of the applause and the beginning of the next song. And the reason why I do that is because when you go and you split up the tracks and you want to hear song number 2 or song number 3, you don't want to hear the 30 seconds or minute worth of applause. You want to actually hear the song. So that's what I'm going to do. So here we have applause.
Yeah.
Whoops, that's not applause. You see this little bump right here. He's starting to talk. So let me go ahead and click this back a little bit. And I'm going to hit my space key again. Alright, that's still more talking. So let's find that spot where he starts talking, and that's where I'll make my first marker, or my second marker.
Egocentric molecule.
Okay, he's still talking. Let's go back here.
Thank you.
Okay, now as you can see at the beginning, right where it starts getting really quiet, that's where he starts to talk. And that's where we're going to make our first marker then. Now this is why I want you to use the space key, why the space key works really well, because I can keep my hand on the mouse so I could set my points to look up where the next marker is. Then I can use the space key to get to that point. See, so I'm going to move this a little closer.
Thank you.
Okay, now what you can do is once you know kind of where you want that marker to be, go ahead and move that a little bit closer. Okay? All right, so here's where my next marker is going to be. And I'm going to go ahead and press F8 again. Remember, F8 on the keyboard. And now I've made marker number 2. Okay? So that's basically how I start making my markers. Now I'm going to make just a few random markers here. Alright, I'm not going to listen to the track and find out exactly where these things break up. I'm just going to go ahead and set some random markers in order to start splitting this up and show you how it's done. So let's move this thing ahead. I'm going to make a marker here. Press F8. I'm going to, now what I'm looking at right now, all this area right here is just a portion of the file. If you see up here this big thick green line, this is the amount of sound file that I'm looking at. Okay? All this gray stuff over here on the end, that's the remainder of the file. Now what I could do, similar to going to Windows Explorer some, I can go ahead and hold down my left mouse button and drag this across like this, and this will begin to show me the rest of the large file. Okay, that's a good way to go ahead and find out and see where else I can make my breaks as I move along. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a break right here, or make a marker. Press F8. I'll go ahead and make another marker right here. Now, right here at the break. Okay, F8. Then I'm going to go ahead and move along here. Like I said, I'm dragging this across, holding down my left mouse button. Then I'll release the mouse button. Then I'm going to find another little quiet spot. Let's say right here. Well, right there. Press F8 again. So there's marker number 6. I'll go ahead and drag this over a little bit more. Let's say one right here. Whoops, not right there. Right there. All right, F8. Go ahead and come over here a little bit more. I'll go ahead and make one more mark right here. Well, yeah, that's good. F8. And then finally, I'm going to make my last marker at the very end of the track. Now I can either go ahead and just click here at the very end if I wanted to, or similar to getting to the beginning of the track where I hit my home key, I can also hit my end key, E-N-D, end key, and that'll put my little yellow line all the way to the end of the track. You can see the yellow triangle is right there. And then I'm going to make my last mark right there. When it's at the end of the track, I'm going to once again press F8. Okay? And if I move this a little bit, you'll be able to see I've got my final marker here at the end of the file. Okay? So I've made all my tracks. Okay? What I'm going to do now, and actually it'll show you one thing. As you make these tracks, if you see right next to the file name, there's a little plus sign. This plus sign begins to show up. And if you press this, it's going to show you all your markers, where your markers are. Okay, I've made a total. This is the beginning. This is the one at the beginning of the track, marker 1, or the beginning of the file. And then this is the one at the end of the file, marker 9. And then I've made all these other ones in between. Okay? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to insert this into a CD list. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to come over here to CD view, because this is now I've finished making all my markers. Now I'm going to go to CD view. So I'm going to press this button. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these markers. I'm going to left click on the first one. Then I'm going to hold down the shift key on my keyboard. And with my shift key held down, I'm going to left click on marker 9. That's going to highlight all of them. And then I'm going to hold down my left mouse key. I'm going to drag these over here into the CD list. Now what's going to happen is a window is going to pop up, and this is where you're going to make your track ranges. Okay, here we go. Now as you can see, there's a begin point, says start a file, and there's an end of file. They're automatically in there by default. I tend not to use them. I just rather put a marker at the beginning and a marker at the end. It's just what I do. But as you can see, you're doing the add track range marker. Okay? So now you see begin point and end point. Begin point starts at marker 1, and end point ends at marker 2. So what I'm going to do is it says, and down here it says marker 01 range. Okay, you can call this anything you want. If you want to call it 01 JLP for Jean-Luc Ponty 13, that's fine. And then you can go ahead and go 02 JLP 13, 03 we can move on like that if you want to. All right, and that's what I'm going to do actually. So I'm going to go ahead and click add, left click on it, and you see it's added into here. And what it does is create a range. It starts at the beginning of the track, and I know it says 2 seconds, but that is what it is. And then it's going to end at 6 minutes and 6 minutes 18 seconds 6 minutes 18 seconds 24 milliseconds, something like that. Okay? But as soon as you add that, this window pops back up, and it's going to say marker 2, begin point marker 2, end point marker 3. Exactly, that's the next track. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and name it 02 JLP 13 and blah blah, and then I'm going to go ahead and once again left click on add, and see it's added into here, and then this window pops up again and says okay, let's go to the next track. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click add. I'm not going to rename all these for the sake of time, but we're just going to go ahead and click add and add. Now as you can see, it just keeps moving down the line. Add. This is going to go from beginning at 7, ending at 8. Add. And and then finally marker 8 to marker 9. Now after this, something's going to pop up saying I can't add the next one. That's okay, don't worry about it, because what it's going to do is go from marker 9 to end of file. It's actually going to click on marker 9 at the beginning and end of file, and it's going to say it's too short. So basically don't worry about it. Okay, we're just going to go from 8 to 9 because 9 we know is the end of file. So we'll click add. See, and it's going to say this. Don't worry about it. Just click OK. You're all good. Okay, so now we've made, basically, we've actually made these ranges. Track range, track range, track range. And the ranges are actually the tracks that we're going to use. Okay, now that we've done this, we're going to go up here to Window. Oops, I'm sorry, not Window. My bad. Let's back that up. I'm sorry about that. Let's not do that. We're going to go back to Edit. Haha. Okay. And as you can see here, all the track rangers are still there. Now at this point in time, we're going to go to Window. Left click on Window and come over here to Marker List. Okay, I'm going to click on Marker, left click on Marker List, and you see you've got not only the cue points or the markers, but you also have the ranges here. Okay? These are the markers that we created initially. And these are the ranges that we made just a second ago. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this up here where it says Label. Now, basically what we're going to need to do is take every single one of these ranges. Now, unfortunately, because I did rename these first, they didn't line up as they're supposed to. Basically, all the ranges are supposed to line up by them on their own. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to select all the ranges. So we've got this. If they're not all together, oh, my bad. Let me back that up. If they're not all together like they're supposed to be, if you look over here at Type, there's Track, Track, Cue, 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 Track. Go ahead and click on this instead. Okay? And now what you're going to get is all the tracks together and all the cue points together. Okay? So forget what I said before. Go ahead and click on Type. Instead of Label, click on Type. And all the tracks are going to come together and all the cues are going to come together. Now what we're going to want to use are the tracks. Okay? So left click on the first track. Hold down your Shift key and left click on the last track. Okay, now that we've done that, right down here there's a little thing with a little, looks like a little floppy disk on there, which is funny because they don't make floppy disks anymore. But in any case, go ahead and click on this button down here. Because this button, if you see what it pops up, it says Batch Process Marker Regions. And this is what we're going to need to do. This is pretty much the last step we need to do. So, I'll click on that. You're going to come up with this thing. Alright? And as you can see here, it says Save to Files. Use marker label as file name, and that's fine for right now. You can go ahead and change the file name later if you want to, but let's just go ahead for the sake of simplicity. Let's just do this. All right, destination folder. You can go ahead and choose what folder you want. If you want it in the same folder, that's fine. Actually, this I don't want it in JLP11. I actually would probably make a new file. Or a new folder. So I'll go ahead and click Browse. I'll come down here. Whoopsie. There we go. Okay, so you got, I've already made these folders. I'm going to make a new folder. This one I'm going to call JLP 13 because we know this is the 13th one that we had. So I'll click so we got that. What I do is press the Enter key to kind of cement it in there. I'll press OK. So now I feel like my destination folder is going to be well, that's not where I wanted it to be. I'll tell you what we could do then. Well, I'll tell you what, that we'll just leave it like that. But you can go ahead and basically go ahead and make a folder to put your new tracks in. Okay? Output format is still going to be the same format that the long file is in the first place, which in this particular case it's Windows Media Audio, or it's going to have, a title .wma. Okay. Once we've made all those decisions, we're going to go ahead and click OK. Now this is going to go ahead and run, and it's going to go ahead and break this thing down into tracks. So wait for this to happen. It shouldn't take too long. And I'll wait for this to finish up. Like I said, there's only a few tracks, so let's wait for this to finish up. Now this may seem like a long process, but once you get the hang of it and start doing it, saving these files is not the long process. Actually finding your marker points is the longest process of this thing. Okay? And obviously it's taking longer right now because I'm explaining every little thing I do. But once you figure out how it's done, it doesn't take as long as you would think. Okay? So once again, we're just waiting for this thing to finish up. And as you can see behind here, when this thing highlights out, it's actually finding those marker points, those ranges, and saving things up. I believe this is the last one. Yep, and there we go. So now it's finished. It's not going to tell you it's finished. It's just going to stop doing what it was doing. So once that's done, we'll just go ahead and close this. We can go ahead and close the file. Well, I mean, we can go. You might want to save the file in order to save the markers. At this point in time, I'm not going to save the file because I don't need these markers, because I'm going to break this down correctly. So anyway, so that's that. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and close Adobe Audition. No. Do I want to save it? At this point in time, I don't. I normally would, but this time I'm not going to. And I don't want to save that list because I'm going to make a whole new track list. So no. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that folder, that Barry's stuff folder. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on my computer. And I'm going to go, I know exactly where it is. So I'm going to go over here to double click on D. Double click on Barry's stuff. Double click on Jean-Luc Ponty. Now I kind of nested this into here, so I'm actually going to come here and do this. So right here is the JLP 13 folder, and if I open this up, you will see I've now created all of these tracks. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks, and that's basically how you do it. These now can be, if you go into Nero and if you've numbered these correctly, you can go ahead and put them into to Nero to burn a CD, or you can go ahead and add more information to these files in order to put them on an iPod and stuff like that. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I hope you're able to go ahead and do this with the other, with the rest of the long files that you have. And that's that. Talk to you later. Bye.